Today we're going to be talking about water. Water seems to be quite a hot topic on the Facebook forums about the West Highland Way. I just wanted to address some of that, if I can, on this little short video today from Tyndrum along to Bridge of Orchy. Now, back in 1990, when I walked this with my local scout troop and a bunch of friends, weirdly 54th also wears red and black, the taps and things that you have on the West Highland Way now weren't so readily available. So we relied upon taking water out of the burns and the streams along the route side. Now, we did choose to walk it in the height of summer, not this time of year when there's snow on the ground. And the week we chose to walk it in was the hottest, I believe, of 1990, which means and all the burns and things had kind of dried up. I seem to recall getting water from, I think it must have been round about the Beech Tree Inn. I don't remember the Beech Tree Inn being there, but it was a few years ago. I remember bumping into, I think it was a farmer's wife, who offered to fill up her bottles for us because we were parched. We'd walked from Mulgai all the way to the Beech Tree Inn, and of course we've been told to hydrate by our scout leader, so we were gulping down the water, making sure that we didn't get dehydrated and end up having cramp in our legs and things. So as I say, we got water there. We ended up camping in a very midgy-fest Garaban forest, and in the morning we made the push over Connick Hill and down into Balmaha, and where the car park is now there was a wee cafe sat in the corner there, and we were treated to a full cooked breakfast that morning, if I remember correctly. Now, as we headed along towards Rowerdennan, which was our second camping spot for the night, our group kind of split into two, where we had the faster walkers at the front and the slower walkers at the back. There was a group of 10 of us and our scout leader. Now, I decided that I was going to just take it easy, so I was in the back group of 5, whilst the others travelled off up ahead. Now, 2 of the people in that party were sharing a tent with me, and again they ran out of water as we were heading along towards Rowerdennan, and being thirsty they decided to take water out of one of the burns that runs along the side of the path at the side of Loch Lomond. It wasn't a very fast running burn. There are a lot of sheep fields along the side of there as well. You could probably see where this is going. So we made it to Rowerdennan, and poor Gordon and Michael, who I was sharing a tent with, started vomiting in the night. They were throwing their insides up. Luckily we were in a 3-man tent with 2 doors, so one was being sick out of one side, one was being sick out of the other, and poor me, I'm lying trying to get to sleep in the middle. So they went home with 2 other scouts, and we lost another boy, a dear friend who we lost a few years back, Ewan, between Rowerdennan and the Inversnaid Hotel. He got picked up there. So yeah, I'm very familiar with water on the West Highland Way. Back then filters really weren't a thing. You took the water out the stream and you took your chances. I think you could still get the little tablets that you could drop in, but I don't think any one of us had them. Now you're kind of spoilt for choice between my go-to filter, which is the Sawyer. If you don't follow Dan Becker, get on and have a look at the reason why Sawyer should maybe become your choice of filter. Are they the best filters? No. There's a reason why you should choose a Sawyer. The MSR's got a great flow rate. Life straw, if you want to lie in your stomach and suck straight out the stream, brilliant. There's the Catadine B. There's all sorts of filters you can use. Do you need to carry a filter though? I would argue It's worth taking with you, but will you need to use it? Probably not. I carried mine the whole way last year and didn't filter out a stream once. Now, if you've watched my other video that I did 2 weeks ago, and to those new subscribers that I picked up from that wee video and all the nice comments, thank you for that, appreciate it. You'll have seen in Dòrain and also in Balmaha that Scottish Water provides these fantastic taps for refilling your bottles. So do you need to carry a filter? Well, certainly not in that first couple of days, because again there's another one at the Ben Lomond car park at Repel. So all the way along on the first day, and I could start in Mulgai, there are places to get drinks, and you'll probably be starting with a bit of water anyway. I personally start with a sausage roll and a bottle of Iron Brew from the Greg's right next door to the beginning, just at the Monolith in Mulgai. Your next water fill up will be the Beech Tree Inn, which again there's a tap right outside in the car park. You don't need to ask if you can use it, just it's there. The next one you'll pass is at Dòrain Camping, and again you could probably just go in and use the tap. If you do get caught, just say, can I have some water please, and I don't think there'll be an issue with it. If you're going to bypass Dòrain, which I don't think you should do, I've said that in the previous video, but if you are bypassing Dòrain, I would suggest maybe popping into Dòrain Camping and just refill your bottles there. But then you're up over the hill at Conic Hill and down into Balmaha, where again down at Tom Weir's Rest, you'll be able to get more water at the tap in Balmaha. Now, between Balmaha and Repel, there are 3 campsites that I can think of. So, Milrocky Bay. Now, I think there might even be a tap just at the little car park there that's going to, I think, use it for water sports and things. But you could also refill it at the Milrocky Caravan Park, and then you're on to Cashel, another campsite, which again they're bound to have taps. I've never used them myself, but they're bound to have. I know for certain that there is a tap at the Salakey campsite just before you hit Repel. Now when you get to Repel, I think, if I remember correctly, that'll be your last Scottish water tap that you can refill from, one of those fountains, like if you've watched the other video you'll have seen in Dòrain and Balmaha. At the start of the trail you've plenty of these Scottish water taps that you can refill from, keeping you going till you reach the next one. Once you've left Repel, you've got a long section to go until you reach your next tap. That can be admitted. I'm going to stick the hood up, it's getting a little bit wild. So yeah, once you've left Repel, I say I would refill there, but you've only got to get to the Inversnaid Hotel before you can fill up again at the tap just next to the walker's entrance at the hotel. So, you know, it's not a million miles away. I would refill there because you've got the section at the north end of Loch Lomond in order to get onto your next tap, which will be at Benglass Farm. Again, it's not a tap you have to ask permission to use. It just sits outside the restaurant on Benglass. And if you're not staying there, I would pop in and refill there. Now, some people choose to stop in Crean Larrick, and again, you could refill there, but if you're not stopping there, there isn't another tap from Benglass until you reach Tyne Drum. First tap you will meet is probably on the By the Way campsite, or if you can wait, and I would encourage you to wait, pop into the really fantastic Real Food Cafe, and again right outside the door there's another water tap that you're free to use and fill up at, and pop in there and enjoy some of their food. And then we're on to the Bridge of Orchy. Now, when we get along to the Bridge of Orchy, I'll let you see there's another tap sits just outside the entrance into the hotel, which again, don't even need to ask. You can just go in and use. From the Bridge of Orchy, you've got a short hill climb up and over and down into Invigorating to the Invigorating Hotel, which again has a tap at it. You've guessed it, which you could pop in and refill again if you need to. Now that's probably your last spot that you can refill at until you get over Rannoch Moor and round to either the Glencoe Mountain Resort, or if you're heading down the hill, down to the King's House Hotel, which again, there's a tap at that you're free to use. Once you leave the King's House Hotel, you'll be heading along the side of the main road, past the Bunkhouse Moor and up the Devil's Staircase before descending down into Kinloch Leaving. Now the first tap I think you'll come across as you head into Kinloch Leaving will be the one at the Blackwater campsite. Again, I think if you were to wander in and use their tap, they wouldn't be too upset. If somebody asked you, you know, just ask, can I have some water? And I don't think, again, there'd be an issue with that. So yeah, there's a tap there at the Blackwater campsite that again you can refill for free right at the side of the trail. A lot of people stop in Kinloch Leaving before their last day, 15 miles down into Fort William. So you'll be refilling again at Kinloch Leaving before heading up the steep climb at the start of the day, along past that beautiful wee ruined cottage, which I'll put a photograph, well, a video of up just now. And then you're down into Fort William, where, let's be honest, once you get into the middle of Fort William, treat yourself to a pint or a gin or whatever takes your fancy, because there's hundreds of pubs in the middle of Fort William. Do you need a water filter? I would take one just in case. Do you need one? Possibly not, okay? As I say, the water that comes out the taps here in Scotland is brilliant. It's great water to drink. It's some of the freshest you'll taste anywhere in the world. There are loads of taps now along the West Highland Way, and if you're clever, and every time you pass a tap, you take the opportunity to fill your bottles up, is there any need to be scooping out the burns? No. Do you need to repeat the mistake we made back in 1990? Definitely not. I'm going to speak more about filters and the bottle I use after this bit, which is quite iconic. You'll recognise this as we go through. It's definitely been cold here. We have giant icicles hanging off the bottom of the moss on the wall here. Let's head down through here. Nice to get a wee bit of shelter as we come underneath that bit. As we make our way down the hill towards Ben Dòrain, which is definitely one of the Munros that's on my to-do list very shortly. Watch this space for that video. Let's discuss the bottles that you might want to take with you. Now, I know if you're coming from the States, Nalgene seems to be a favourite one. I carry the Camelback ones. I just found them to be a bit heavy, Nalgene included. I bought the Smart Water bottle because I use the Sawyer Mini, and somebody on some YouTube channel had said how good they fit onto the threads on the cap of a Sawyer Mini. So that became my go-to bottle, and I kept buying them every time I went out somewhere. I've stopped doing that. The bottles are a good plastic, and I've been using the same two bottles now for quite a number of years. They're light. If you want to squash them down, you can squash them down. And so they do everything I need them to be able to do. So Smart Water bottles, once you've bought them, don't throw them away. Try them out, store them beside your gear, use them for the next time. Well, I tell you what, it's windy out here today, but I couldn't be happier. yeah, embrace that weather. That there is a good example of a stream that I would happily drink out of, coming straight off the mountain. So we've been talking about the water that you drink as you travel on the West Highland Way. But what we haven't mentioned yet is, what about the water that's not falling from the streams that you want to be drinking? What do you do about the water that falls from the sky? Now, if you're unlucky enough to book your trip, and it is Scotland you're coming to, and the weather forecast is rain, what do? Well, my advice would be embrace it. Get yourself a decent pair of waterproofs. I've gone overkill with the waterproofs. A number of years back, I saw a deal on, if you've never used the Sports Pursuit website, sign up for that. I got this Arc'teryx AR jacket, which I think it retails at £550 for half price. But then I also bought the bottoms to match. Is it a bit of overkill for hiking? Yes, they're big, they're bulky, they're heavy, but my goodness, do they keep me dry. So yeah, invest in a decent pair of waterproofs if you're coming to do the trail, because in Scotland you never know what the weather's going to be like. I did get into, it wasn't a heated debate, but it was a debate all the same, with a chap on a Facebook forum who somebody had asked, what about gaiters? Are gaiters a good idea? Do they help keep your feet dry? And somebody said, no, I wore gaiters, and the water went straight down off my waterproofs, straight down the inside of the gaiters and into my boots. Well, yes, of course that's going to happen. And I'm assuming what he'd done was, he'd put on his waterproof trousers and then thought, I'll stick my gaiters on, and he'd put his gaiters on over the top. Now, that's going to funnel the water straight down off your waterproofs, and yes, into your boots and socks, soaking your feet. Do what I've done. I'll let you see. I've got my gaiters on underneath my waterproofs. Tuck your waterproofs over the top. Problem solved. You're not going to get water down into your boots because your gaiters are tucked up underneath. So now you've got a double layer of waterproofness on your ankles. Yeah, gaiters do help. Now, I know there are people who like to wear trail runners. And what you'll find is, like we are on today, a lot of it is hard, stony path, which I know hard, stony tarmac surfaces can absolutely kill your feet. I personally go with a sturdy pair of shoes, but I get it. It's a personal choice thing, whether you're more comfortable in the kind of trail runner style hiking shoes with the wide toe box, or a decent pair of waterproof hiking boots. It's whatever you're comfortable in. Now, in terms of keeping your feet dry from the water on the West Highland Way, again, I keep seeing on forums people asking, oh, what's a good shoe for me to wear on the West Highland Way? Nobody can answer that question for you, okay? We don't know what size your feet are. We don't know what weight you are. You wouldn't ask that question. Type of boots that are going to suit you will depend on you, if that makes sense. Mine are tried and tested. I wear the Salomon GTX4, I think they are. I think that's what they're called. I've been wearing these for years and I find them dead comfortable. I climb Monroes in them, I do long distance walks in them. They're brilliant for me, and they generally keep my feet dry, with the exception, and if you've seen it, our charity walk in the middle of the night up Ben Nevis. I hadn't realised that the week before I had put a big split along the side of them, and it wasn't until I stepped into the waterfall at the top of the steel falls that I realised that my boots were leaking. Anyway, good excuse to go and buy a new pair. So yeah, nobody can answer the question of what's the best footwear for you. That's a question you need to figure out for yourself. What's comfortable for one person isn't going to be comfortable for another. Not to mention the fact that, well, what budget have you got to spend? Do you want to spend £300 on a pair of boots, or are you looking to buy something a little bit cheaper? Again, my go-to is a Gore-Tex lined boot with a pair of gaiters over the top if it's wet, and my waterproofs over the top of that. That's how to keep yourself dry. You know, decent waterproof jacket, decent waterproof trousers, gaiters if you can get them, and a decent pair of waterproof shoes or boots. I've also got the mountain equipment, they're waterproof mitts, which I've not used yet, but I always thought on a day where it was absolutely teeming it down, I could put them over the top of my gloves, and that would help to keep them dry as well. So yeah, there's lots of ways to keep yourself dry. What about your gear though? Now, the small day pack I'm using just now is an Osprey pack. Now, some Osprey packs come with a rain cover. The Talon ones don't. Now, for my brother John and I, John you'll have seen in the videos from 2023, we both got the Osprey Kestrel 48 litre. Now that comes with a rain cover built into a wee pocket underneath the pack. This is the Talon 33, it's an Osprey pack as well. My younger brother Jamie, who I walked the West Highland Way with back in 2022, he has the Osprey 55. Now there's a reason why he went bigger on his pack. He's got well, he's vegan, which means he doesn't carry a down bag. Because he doesn't carry a down bag, he needs a slightly bigger pack to fit his synthetic bag into. And if you're buying a rucksack, that's something to consider, is that certain packs, even in the same manufacturer, they don't always come with a waterproof rain cover in them to keep the majority of your pack dry. I always err on the side of caution when it comes to keeping my gear dry, especially my sleeping bag, which is down, and if that gets wet, then it's game over. I've got a selection of the Osprey dry bags in various different sizes. It helps to separate out all your gear into things like your sleep system. So I have my sleeping pad, my pillow, my silk liner for inside my sleeping bag. That all goes together into one thing. My sleeping bag has its own dry bag, and I find that those little individual dry bags, I use the Osprey ones, but there's loads of different makes you can choose from, varying in different prices. Really useful to give you that extra layer of protection from the water when it's falling from the sky in Scotland. Now, a piece of clothing that I forgot to mention. In a lot of my videos you'll only ever see me like this, but I am a glasses wearer, and if you're a glasses wearer who doesn't do the contact lens thing, then a waterproof hat doesn't go amiss. I gave myself an eye infection back when we did, if you've seen our Cairn Leith video up on Benaglow, that we had to bail on that. I had to wear my glasses that day because I'd fallen asleep wearing my contact lenses and gummed up all my eyes. So that following day I was in the glasses heading up a very rainy and windy Cairn Leith up at Benaglow. If you are a glasses wearer, the waterproof baseball caps, or any kind of baseball cap for that matter, will just help to keep the rain off of your glasses and allow you to see where you're going. So yeah, that's another added thing you can add on to your long list of things that you might want to have when you're doing the West Highland Way. We're just heading down the Bath towards Ben Dòrain. I'm going to spin you around because you can actually nearly see the top of it just now. It's a stunning shaped mount from this side, a lot easier if you do it from the bridge of Orchy. So that ahead of us is Ben Dòrain, which you'll see kind of halfway along the glen between Tyndrum and the bridge of Orchy. And as I said earlier, that is definitely on my list of Munros to get up at some point very shortly. Hopefully, I might even get up there in the snow, which would be pretty cool. Maybe even before I do my third trip along the West Highland Way. I haven't mentioned yet today, but yeah, the plan's not to walk back. I'm aiming to get to the bridge of Orchy for 3 minutes past 1. If I can do that, then I'm going to jump on the train, back to Tyndrum and back to the car. I'm on a wee bit of a time crunch, but not too bad. It's I think 11 o'clock at the minute, so I've got 2 hours to get from here to the bridge of Orchy. And I think when I looked at it on the maps, it was going to be about 2 hours 45, and I'm well along the track now towards bridge of Orchy, so I've got plenty of time. So if you want to wake up to views of Ben Dòrain, here's a cracking bit of water you could camp right beside. Beautifully flat bit of land. Yeah, if you're into your wild camping, this could be a great wee spot. Looks like people have been here before. Letting the sound of the stream lap you off to sleep. I used that to my advantage at the Spittal of Glen Shee when brother John and I, if you haven't seen the Dòrain trail videos yet, we keep each other awake. John always says that I go on about his snoring, but I know I snore too. Water can be a great way to drown out a hiking buddy who maybe has the same issue as you with the old snoring. And certainly on the Dòrain trail in the Spittal of Glen Shee, we had a brilliant wee stream running down between us that John couldn't hear me snoring, I couldn't hear him snoring, and more importantly, the giant stags that were rutting up in the hill, we couldn't hear them roaring for the second night of the trail. So yeah, water can also be used as a method of drowning out either noisy deer or a noisy hiking partner. Well, as we walk along this last section to Bridge of Orchy, I think the only thing we haven't spoken about yet in terms of water is the availability for plunging yourself into freezing cold water if that's your thing first thing in the morning. I know cold water therapy has certainly become a more popular thing. I'm sure since COVID, I certainly struggled a bit with my mental health in the aftermath of COVID. I'm sure other people have had their own struggles. And a lot of people are now using cold water therapy as a way to start their day, helping their mental health. And of course it has all sorts of other health benefits also. Of course made famous by Wim Hof, the Iceman. We bought an ice bath for the garden in the middle of last year. Now, I'll be honest, I'm going to hold my hand up and say I haven't used it nearly as much as probably I should. In fact, I think I've used it twice. Mrs. Redman Walking, on the other hand, my other half Leslie, she's on, I'm sure it must be day 150, if not more. She starts her day off every day with a cold water plunge in the back garden for 3 minutes. Of course, in the summertime, it was a lot warmer. Now the temperature's down round about 5-6 degrees, has been colder. And that's the way she likes to start off her day. Now, if that's your thing, the West Highland Way has got loads of water if you're so inclined to be wanting to plunge yourself in first thing in the morning to get that vigour going before you get the pack on and get walking again. Then there's loads. Drimmen, you might struggle in Drimmen. But of course, once you're up over Conic Hill and down into Balmaha, you've got the entirety of Loch Lomond. Now, caveat to that, we have had over the years, sadly, a number of drownings happen in Loch Lomond. Tragic cases that probably could have been avoided. Now, Loch Lomond is the UK's biggest body of water. If you were to take the entirety of all the lakes in England, Loch Lomond has more water in it than that. So it's a huge loch, 600 metres deep at its deepest. So if you are plunging in there and you're not a strong swimmer, or even if you are a strong swimmer, because you know you can go into cramp when you go into cold water, just take care when you're going into Loch Lomond. So yeah, we stayed at the By the Way campsite. We were passed by 2 Dutch guys in their sliders with their towels and their budgie smuggling speedos, heading down to plunge themselves into the river in Tyndrum as a way of waking themselves up in the morning. So yeah, expect to see all sorts when you come on the West Highland Way. That was just a wee funny that happened last year. But yeah, so if cold water therapy is your thing, there's ample opportunities for you to take a dip first thing in the morning to wake yourself up. Am I going to do that in King's House this year? Do I want to scare all the hotel guests? I don't know. We'll wait and see. Now, if you've watched this section that I did back in 2023, I fell through this gate. I'm not going to make the same mistake again, although the wind is blowing from behind me. Determined, don't fall through the gate. Got to be careful this time. Right, here we go. There we go, navigated that safely. The wind is howling round here. Woo! Right, let's get through the tunnel and I'll take you down into the Bridge of Orchy. Just in front of us, you're about to see another option for getting back from Fort William. If you decide not to take the train, this bright yellow CityLink bus, there we go, could be another option for you heading home. Again, it's just stopping outside the Bridge of Orchy. So if you had to bail for any reason, this could be a spot where you stop and get that CityLink bus. So this, for many of you, will be a very familiar sight if you've watched the many hundreds of West Highland Way videos. I'm going to take you across and let you see the tap that sits outside. You don't need to go into the Bridge of Orchy if you want to use this. It's literally just outside, hidden behind this grey car here. Quite a busy road here. I'll get across quickly and then I'll take you down and let you see the bridge at the Bridge of Orchy. So here you go. So just outside the main hotel reception, you have some safe drinking water and a tap of the purest and finest drinking water. Now sadly, it looks like the Bridge of Orchy Hotel might be shut, which is great. I was looking forward to soup and a scone. Oh well. Maybe they've just shut the door over, I don't know. Anyway, I'll take you down and let you see the water down at Bridge of Orchy itself. You just head down the side of the hotel. You've watched the videos, you know where you're going. And yep, it all seems pretty dark and closed up in there. So back in 2022, it would have been, we arrived here having walked in the rain for a good chunk of the day, and we decided that we were going to pitch in our tents down at the Bridge of Orchy. And I'll let you see when we get down here, they put actually toilets down here. Now they're portaloos, basically the kind of things you would have at festivals. And we decided we were going to stick our tents down at this section. Now, the problem we had was the water running down off the hillside behind came straight across the camping pitches and was running in perfect streams across the bit of grass we wanted to camp on. We managed to get probably the only two spots that didn't have a stream running through them, and the number of dirty looks we got as we watched people coming across the bridge who were planning on doing the same thing. Yeah, so that's something to be aware of, that, you know, the spots just beyond the Bridge of Orchy, which I'll show you in a wee second, quite often have a bit of hill water running across them in streams if the rain has been bad. Anyway, I'm going to spin you around and let you see the beautiful Bridge of Orchy and River Orchy that runs below it. So there's the hotel with the Ben Dòrain in the background, and then we're over the bridge looking up towards where Rannoch Moor is. And down in this little section in the middle of the screen here is where I pitched my tent the first time I came to do this. They seem to be building a new wee wall. Oh, actually, this'll help. They've raised up the land at the side here. That hopefully should channel the water. Oh, this is brilliant. That should channel the water away from the bit where we camped. We camped down just in this section here. I tell you, I wish they'd done that back in before 2022, because, as I say, we had a couple of pitches here that were running with water down towards the stream. But yeah, there's one or two spots you could pitch here. Is it the most level of ground? No. You will have to pick your spot carefully if you're coming to camp here, but it's another wild camping spot. It's free, and as you can see, there are picnic tables and things in the background here that you can come and enjoy this little patch of heaven, you might say. And again, you're right beside the river, and you've got the Bridge of Orchy as your backdrop. I'm just going to grab a well-earned seat here. I've got about 20 minutes until my train arrives to take me back. So yeah, this little camping spot, if you were to choose to come and camp here on, if you're doing it over 7 days, it'd be your night 4. People do it over different times, from 4 days to 10 if you wanted. I personally choose to do it over 7. This would be a great wee spot again. You've got the river right beside you to drown out the noise of any noisy neighbours. And it's free, more to the point. We're really lucky in Scotland that we have the right to roam, and most places where there's little patches of ground you can stick a tent on, you're pretty much okay to do it, as long as it's not in somebody's back garden or in a section that's a restricted zone, like the sections along side of Loch Lomond, the end of Loch Lomond. So yeah, I'm going to get a quick bite to eat here. In fact, am I going to get a bite to eat? No, I might wait until I'm on the train. Yeah, let's head back up the hill, and I'm going to show you that little patch that you could stay at if you decide you would like something a bit quirky to stay in at the Bridge of Orchy. Right, I've got about 15 minutes before my train arrives to let you see the accommodation that you could stay at, the Bunkhouse that sits actually in the middle of the railway. So you'll go through halfway through the railway bridge here, and then you're turning up onto the platform, and straight ahead of us is the accommodation that you can stay at in Bridge of Orchy. Oh good, my train's on time, it says. That's good news. The Bridge of Orchy train station. So we're heading to Tyndrum, so we'll be over that side. So yeah, if you're staying in the accommodation, you've got the bunk rooms. It looks like a wee bit for eating in, which is quite cool. Reception. Nah, I don't think we'll be able to see in. Don't know how to put it in, just in case there's somebody in there. Yeah, there's wee bunk rooms that you can stay in, so yeah, something a wee bit different, I guess. I was going to point the camera in through the window, and then I thought, you know, better not, just in case somebody's actually staying in there. I've just found myself a wee seat, so I'm going to plonk myself down here, have my roll before the train arrives. Well, fingers crossed you'll be able to hear me over the top of this howling gale we've got blown through. That has been Water of the West Highland Way. If you've enjoyed today's video and you've managed to make it this far, thank you very much for watching. Please consider, if you've enjoyed watching the channel, liking and subscribing. There's going to be more of these videos on the run up to the West Highland Way. If you're planning on doing it yourself, hopefully some of the information in the videos I create are useful for you. And all that remains for me to say is go and create your own adventures, and we'll see you on the next one.